how will the storks fly up in space? That's just a whole different thing. It's hard to actually wrap your mind around what we heard. And that just means that we're going to have to transform our minds. We will have to transform the way we think about things, because the things that we saw in this keynote presentation will truly come to fruition at one point further or sooner. So that all just means we have to work on our mind, and that's actually the next topic that we want to tackle on this stage, because thinking is what leads to doing and what leads to results, and we have the perfect speaker for this next talk. He's the personal advisor and educator, specializing in elite athletes, CEOs, and entrepreneurs. He's an author and a creation, and also the creator of mental and physical performance systems. And fun fact about this next speaker, he's been working with football clubs such as Chelsea and Barcelona. Any football fans here in the audience? Yeah, quite a few. Very good. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome on the stage the world-renowned mind-body specialist, Mr. Rob Brinded. Welcome on the stage.
Thanks for the introduction. That was great. Thank you. So there's no football supporters here, right? I don't actually like football. I just worked in that field for a while. Just to touch on the previous presentation, the lady was talking about we're pioneers in space. The most important space I think we need to be pioneers of is our internal space, because we have this incredible technology inside of us, but no one has the manual to use it. And that's why we have suicide rates are off the scale, and mental health is going crazy, and our children are completely disconnected and lost. But we're building space rockets to Mars, so I'm going to be focusing on the space junk that's inside of us. So the talk's high performance and the hidden glitchy deep tech within our minds. Does everyone like memes? Does everyone know what memes are? Yeah, okay, I've bought my meme game. You're allowed to laugh if you think it's good. So my background is in elite performance. I worked with Chelsea. I was head of injury prevention and strength and conditioning for 5-6 years. I worked with Barcelona. I've worked with English National Ballet School. I work with Olympic gold medalists still. Just anyone who wants to improve their performance, just ordinary people. I find it fascinating. So I kind of have a background in high performance. And for the scientists in the audience, the most exciting phrase to hear in science, the one that heralds new discoveries, is not eureka, but that's funny. I thought it would be like this. Even the entrepreneurs, oh, that's funny. I thought it would be like that. So I'm going to be talking to you about my that's funny moments and show you my journey down the rabbit hole, so to speak. My first that's funny moment came when I was head of injury prevention. It was a new lab that I created because I believed that we could work out which players were going to get injured based on their biomechanics, their posture, but also I got into the mind and how stress and emotions actually show up in the body. So this is the start. I didn't have the photo because I was busy of the full setup, but if you imagine this player, he was one of the first team. Can you see that his head is to the right of that midline? Can you see that? I don't know if you saw that, but that's something that I immediately want to be looking at. And you may think, I was just holding his head funny, but it turned out it was his eyes and the information that was coming into his tonic postural system, which is like the body's biocomputer. So the eyes can affect the way you hold yourself. So the analysis was very sophisticated. And if you imagine he's standing with feet on 2 different scales. So you stand 2 feet on 1 scales to measure yourself, right? The weight. But we had 2 very sophisticated scales. And the story I'm going to tell you is a funny thing is we had the world's best in his position come in. I remember clearly. He walked in, he stood on the scales, not this guy, another guy, and when he stood there, he was 8 kilos heavier on one leg. So you imagine 8 kilos heavier on one leg. What's going on? Now, it could be short leg, it could be his TMJ, it could be lots of different things. But because I was getting interested in the mind, I said, what's the best sex you've ever had? This is a football club, you're allowed to ask these things. And 20 minutes later, that's the only joke I've got for you today, okay? Thank you. 20 minutes later, he said, whatever, I was going to say a Latvian joke, but I was told not to say it. So, and he said, so he's just talking about this experience. I look at his scales, and he's perfectly balanced. He's zero balanced. You get that? He went from 8 kilos heavy on one leg to perfectly balanced, thinking about this positive experience, okay? So immediately I shifted and I said, what's the worst moment of your life? Within seconds, he hit it. You could see in the folders of the internal computer, bang, he got it, and he went to 9 kilos heavier on one leg. That is mind-blowing. Like, for me, I was like, holy shit, did you see that? And the medical team were like, because it brings in something that they don't want to go, oh shit, you mean emotions and your thinking affects your body. So that's my geeky moment. It sent me down the rabbit hole. So here's my first meme. So I went from totally focused on the body to having my attention caught by the mind. And I spent the next 15 years going down the rabbit hole, looking at, actually the body works very similar to a computer. There are ones and zeros. If you're interested, there's Dr. Douglas Wallace. He's 60 years in mitochondrial research. He's the leading guy in the States, scientist, pure science. He's now set up a clinic in China, thinking the mitochondrial system is the Chinese meridian system. Oh, awesome. But that's my field. So I spent the next 15 years going down that rabbit's hole. So I went from it's just physical to the body is the subconscious mind. There is no separation. But then there was something else that I was seeing that was causing a problem. And this is where I'm going to be showing you this thing that you can take away today, and it will completely transform your lives. It's high performance work, this, if you want to. It will be there by the end of this. So this is where we go to the galaxy brain. So if you want a galaxy brain for your startups and your businesses and everything, this is what we're going to talk about. So what I notice with clients and what I notice with business people, CEOs and everything, they have a particular deep set of behaviors that can't change. So everyone in here has a way of doing things, and they get triggered now and again, and you get angry or sad, or you work too much, or you lack confidence. I'm not going to ask you to put your hands up, but everyone here won't think they're good enough. These deep behaviors that we mask are there in everyone in you, even those ones that are talking and they're not listening because they don't want to really hear this. So, but also, how could I change myself? I was deeply insecure, and lots of things that bothered me about myself, but I couldn't change them with the work that I was doing. So, just to kind of reiterate, a stressed athlete, an athlete that has these deep behaviors, they're not able to perform well. I mean, that's just basic. It literally affects their body and their performance. But if you're, in a low time preference startup working in deep tech, you're going to get burnt out because of what I'm going to tell you. Okay, and you're going to get sick and stressed and lose life balance. So the way to do it is on an internal, and I'm going to show you how to do that. One of the other things that I found that was fascinating is when I came to working with the clients on trying to change their behavior, some of the people were geniuses. Like, I work with professional poker players, tech startup guys, or tech founders that you guys know. They're extremely intelligent, but they can't work out the problems inside their head. Yeah? So that's why philosophers kill themselves. So if you read philosophy books at the start, it usually said the author killed himself, which isn't a good start to a book, because philosophy is using the mind, and I'm going to show you it's always a trap. Okay, so I work with top philosophers who are manically depressed because there's a glitch I'm going to be telling you all about. Okay, you guys excited about that? Oh, I got some movement. Woo! Love that, love that. So I had this conundrum. I was like, how do we change these deep operating systems? So I looked to performance. Did you know that the thing that changed sports performance the most, that it literally revolutionized this, athletics and sport, was video replay? Because you were able to see your opponent beforehand and create strategies. When I was at Chelsea, we had 2 full-time people just going out analyzing patterns of behavior in the opponents and working out where their weaknesses were. And in MMA, I work with fighters. If you watch fighters, they do these things called feints because they're trying to watch and observe what their opponent, how they react. Yeah, it's behavioral observation. In the previous presentation, they talked about earth observation. We've got to observe the earth, and this is real, much more important than that space. It's a joke, but so with video replay, an athlete was able to observe themselves and how they did something, high jump, whatever, and see where the problems were. So I looked at that and I thought, well, if that revolutionized people's abilities, how can I observe myself? So you don't, like some of these influencers on Instagram, I don't want someone following me, filming me, but they can't film what's going on inside my head. So what I did was I spent a lot of time, this is years, I created a system called Meditation OS. OS stands for Operating System and Observation of Self. And what I came to realize in observing myself all day, every day, because I wanted to change myself first, and then I wanted to see if it worked with my clients, I started to see patterns. So I've got very good pattern recognition. So you don't want to play Cluedo against me. Do you know Cluedo, the game? I won't do that joke again in Latvia. No, it's sort of, you've got to work out who killed who in which room, Colonel Mustard and everything. You know it, yeah. So I'm going to just talk to him all day, okay? So I have very good pattern recognition. I'm not very good at maths or sciences. I just didn't understand anything. But when it comes to patterns, I like. And so what I started to see was this pattern, this incredible pattern that I was like, holy shit, this is I wonder if everyone else has this, because it's definitely in me, and it started to change me. It is when you get it, but it's like riding a bike. You've got to practice a little bit to start off with. So I found the key to changing myself and my clients, which blew my mind. And the thing that did it were these guys. That's kind of a joke. That did work with my wife or my children. Hamsters. Hamsters was the clue, the thing that the discovery I made. So you're probably thinking, okay, this guy's lost the plot right now. Bear with me. So there's these cycles in our behaviors, and that's what I'm going to get into the nitty-gritty. So if you were asleep before, let's wake up now, because you'll be able to go away and do this, and you're sorted for life. Most valuable thing you could ever learn, I'm going to give you now. Burnout, stress, life imbalances, it's all cycles. If you look closely, you'll see it. It's a fact. If you look closely at your behavior, you're like a hamster. You know what hamsters are, yeah? Maybe that's why the joke didn't work. Do you have hamsters in Latvia? Okay, cool. My wife's half Peruvian, and they eat them there. So it's different culture. So as you can see, the hamster is running like crazy, but actually the hamster never moves. And what the hamster does is it runs, and sometimes it flips over. It goes so fast, or it just slides back into burnout. It's exhausted. Same with humans. Half of you, I don't know, I haven't assessed you all, but half of you will be high achievers and doing all the time and never stop. Yeah? Always working, always trying to achieve. Does anyone want to put their hands up for that? No. Okay. Yeah. So if you're honest, you're either going to be one or the other. The other side is you lack confidence. You procrastinate. You spend all your time trying to achieve, but you always flip back to unable, lacking confidence. Does anyone want to put their hand up for that? Okay, nice. That was me. So it cycles. Let's go into a bit deeper. This is where it gets a little bit complicated, my most difficult slide for me. So these hamster wheels is what I call them. They're deep mind tech hamster wheels. They are the most important things for you to see in life because they run every single one of you. And I'll put anything, I've worked with thousands of people, it is 100%. Every one of them can look when I do the work with them and they go, oh shit, that's me, that's my life. So I'm going to kind of explain how to see them, what I'm talking about, because sometimes I've been doing this a while, I forget. What's this guy talking about? Watching your behavior. So as I'm here now, or just before coming on stage, I was standing over there, and I heard this voice like, shit, what if you're really shit on stage? What if you're unable to make people laugh? Well, actually, that came true, but I got you. You got me. You got my back. So and what did I do? I observed this conversation that you all have in here that comes up, and it's usually on the negative side. Some of you might be going, I'm the dog's bollocks. I should be up there. But no, there aren't so many of those. Those are in politics. But hey, leave that on the side. There's some politicians here. So the mind works in duality, which means when you think about achieving something, the opposite exists. So fail. When you want to gain, there's a possibility of loss. Or a classic one, I was talking with someone earlier, wrong or right. Or what if I do it wrong? I want to do it right. So everyone, you see that. In your head, you can't have one without the other. This Latvian wine is strong. How do I know? Compared to this Portuguese wine or whatever, you know? So you have to compare. That's how the mind works. So all of us, spend all our time running on the hamster wheel trying to achieve. Do you agree with that? Like, if you look, most of us want to achieve. Or shall I go to the other side? Who wants to fail? No one, right? Who wants to feel worthless? No one's going to put their hand up. The crazy girl over there. Valuable. We all want to be valuable. I'm not going into unmet needs, but that is something that's a little bit beyond valuable. I won't be going to it. So we have these thoughts that constantly we're thinking, shit, I'm not doing enough. I'm not enough. I should be doing more. No one, I support everyone, but then everyone lets me down. Who knows that one? Yeah? Or I'm going to have to do everything in my business because people just let me down the whole time. Or those people are unable. I can't stand that. I'm super able. Does that resonate with everyone? Maybe. So we have this conversation. It's going backwards and forwards between the opposites. That's all I'm saying. It's a program that runs. The problem is, and the glitch in this simple child program, it was created before you're 4 years old, is it runs every single one of you. All of these, there's several different hamster wheels that are running the whole time. And they're in all of you. They're running you. Some of you might go, that's not possible. I am totally able. That's the hamster wheel, okay? So we have these in us. We spend all of our time trying to go up to the right. Now, here's the thing. Half of you, let's just imagine half, will be jammed up on the left. You'll feel like you're not able, you're unable, you lack confidence, you're not good enough. You're jammed up over there. You spend all your time running away from that up to the right. Do you get it? Going up onto that hamster wheel, you spend all your time, and you just go straight back down again. You're just about to achieve, and then you sabotage. Who relates to that? Can anyone see that? Yeah, it is brutal, right? You can do something about it. You have to open yourself up to the yang, the masculine energy on the right. It's the way you've been conditioned. So if you're on the right, you don't like being told what to do. So I'm going to tell you anyway. You spend all your time trying to gain, achieve, and you hate feeling unable. You hate being helpless. Who relates to that? Okay, we got some honest guys in the front here. This gets a little bit kind of energy type thing, but the more you push your energy up there, hamster wheel, you will always flip back to lose. And that's where, in my experience, disease is. For the ones on the right who can never be okay with the other side and balanced, they pull in things so that they experience loss and lack of control. Cancer, disease, those teach us how to deal with unableness or helplessness. I'm going a little bit, but that's my experience. So, does everyone kind of get what I'm saying about these hamster wheels? They are going all the time. You just got to watch them. So you're probably saying, yeah, Rob, what do you do about it? Okay, 3 ways off that, 3 ways off the hamster wheel. 1, porn, sex, alcohol, addiction, workaholism, distraction. Who knows those things? Well, your hand just went straight. That was okay, we'll talk later. Okay. That's one, and we all do it, fantasizing about, when I achieve this and that. That's distraction, takes you out of the hamster wheel. There's no freedom there. It's a trap. It always brings you back to unable, yeah? Another way off is suicide, and we should talk about it because it happens. And I know people, I've worked with people, and it's brutal, and it's because of these things. This causes suicide. Okay, so we have to understand this is very valuable. Children need to be taught this stuff, that it's true, it's a fact. You don't have to believe anything. As Bitcoiners say, don't trust, verify. Go look yourself. Don't believe me. And the third way is observation, like I said with the video replay. This is the limiting factor for the success of every aspect of your life. I'm not joking. I have a billionaire client. He has multiple businesses. You know them. He's very well known. He's there on my call saying, I'm a complete failure. I'm completely empty. I'm nothing. I'm totally unable. Sticking coke up his nose. But surely he's achieved so much. Isn't there a way off the hamster wheel? No, it's a hamster wheel. So the more you think you will gain from this thinking, the more entrenched you get, and you flip hard to the way you don't want to be. Yeah, does that make sense? It's like there's no freedom with these hamster wheels. And to bring it back to your work, these important technologies that you're trying to change the world with, this hamster wheel is going to be spinning hard, and it will get you if you don't get it. Get the hamster wheel. So the observation, when you see the program running, when you look at it and don't react to it, it's a little bit like this image. The cat's scared of the image of the mice huddling together. It's an illusion. So the program inside of you creates your reality, and you perceive stress and you get burnt out, and it's perspective. But if you look at the thing as a 4-year-old's program and you see what it's doing, it dissolves instantly. You see it, it dissolves. Does that make sense? Yeah. I will say this once. These create your reality. 100%. I've done this so long, I know. If you look very closely, these hamster wheels create your reality. This is serious shit. These are like snakes in your house, and they are deadly. All the suffering comes from these, all right? So I'm a bit passionate about it because I've experienced it. So high performance is a question of non-doing via observation. Non-doing. Now you might say, yeah, but Rob, I have to do my job. No, just watch yourself, and the thoughts come up as you're doing the job. And as you can see, it's the film with light shone through it creates your reality, or the reality that you're watching, yeah? So you have to go to the reel and look at what's on the reel to dissolve the reel and change it and balance it. So life balance comes from this. So winding up, I'm on time, I can't believe it. Here's 2 quotes. The ability to observe without evaluating is the highest form of intelligence. J. Krishnamurti, excellent. Heavy, but great books if you're interested in this. The ability to observe without evaluating. So to be able to watch without going, oh, come on, don't be so stupid, Rob. Just to observe and understand. It's science, really. You're observing something in a test tube, but it's you. And then I chucked in Albert Einstein for you scientists. The measure of intelligence is the ability to change. Okay, this is it's important. Yeah, so if you want to find out more about this subject, I have a newsletter that's free. I write about stuff that I'm finding out. It's a cool newsletter. I enjoy doing that. You can, if you ever want to work with me, you could go to robbrinded.com, sign up there, or you can get in touch with my assistant. And this is a book I have on Amazon. I'm writing a much deeper book now on hamster wheels, but this is Mind Decentralized, Becoming Masterless. And thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Rob. Thank you, Rob. I have a gift for you.
Okay.
2 chairs.
Cool.
Yeah. Sorry for Latvians not laughing. You were speaking about cycles, and actually we are right now getting out of a winter depression cycle. See, everything is blooming. We see flowers. We're getting happier. Come back in July. We're going to be like,
I'll come back with
Ligo, Midsummer Night Festival. Everything is.
I'll come back with my
wonderful.
jokes then.
Excellent. Rob, while we have you here, please sit down. I want to welcome on the stage Anton Adamovich for a quick fireside chat with you, and afterwards we're going to have a discussion. So 5-7 minutes, quick chat. Here you go.
So good, so good. Thanks so much, Rob.
Pleasure.
I think it's a very important topic for entrepreneurs, scientists, investors, because we're all human after all. In the end of the day, it is about not just performance, but feeling happy. And that's what I highlighted in the very beginning, and I'm so happy that you find the moment to come to Riga. One of the questions I wanted to ask before we engage in a panel with very different guys from different mindsets, I would like to ask, considering comparison of athletes and deep tech entrepreneurs, achievers, scientists, what is the similarities that you can see?
If I relate it back to the hamster wheels, entrepreneurs, business owners, CEOs, athletes, judokas, fighters, footballers, they're all usually jammed up on the right. So they want to achieve. They're very driven to achieve. So there's no difference. It's maybe in levels. Like if I work with a double gold medalist judo, world champion gold medalist, they're sort of peaking on the right. They're like so jammed up. But what I would say is, if you want to be there, you have to enjoy what you're doing. To last and not get burnt out, you have to enjoy it. So enjoyment comes when there are no hamster wheels being triggered. So it's a question of de-engineering the deep tech inside of you And so whether you're a footballer or a school child, it's the same. We have the same mind, the same setup. It's just slightly less balanced or slightly more extreme in the jammed upness.
And how does the team, for example, in football team you have a special unit
Yeah.
to do this, to observe, to, somebody's taking care. What to do in the startup?
So in the startup, I would say if you really think about it, you have to take full responsibility for your own behavior. So when you start pointing a finger at someone in the team and you feel let down, there's 3 fingers pointing back at you. And you have to look, where is this my behavior of I over-support people, expecting them to support me because I'm nice, it's a manipulation, and then I get let down. If you have to, each individual, before they point the finger, has to own their own behavior, and then they need to do that work before going into a discussion with a colleague if there's conflict.
Yeah, but shouldn't it be put on the regular basis in the team to have certain of, every week or every 2 weeks to measure this kind of things?
Yeah, it should. It should. I don't know. I was talking with Mark earlier about his, the big company, and it's everyone has to buy into this work, and if you can tell if someone in a team isn't doing it. So it is super important for the team to move forward. For me, it's the most valuable thing, but it's very hard work to get people who are defensive, and usually goes back to childhood trauma. Some people don't want to feel vulnerable, and so it's hard. If you can get the team to buy in, it is gold.
But this is basically the responsibility of the team building effort within the company. So it has to come as a culture.
And top
somebody
down.
has to.
The number one guy has to be doing it. And then the guys below, there's no point bottom up.
So if the guy is not doing it,
it's not going to work.
So, and if not number one guy is doing it,
it's a problem. Yeah. So if you have a team underneath them and they're working at it, I think as long as everyone in that team is doing it and that they're compassionate when the main guy comes in and maybe starts going, getting triggered and people see his behaviors, it can only be a good thing. But for the highest performing organization, it has to come from the top down. Otherwise, the people underneath won't feel that they can say and be vulnerable and say, I take full responsibility for this, and then the top guy goes, yeah, I'm going to fire you. The top guy has to take responsibility for everything below him. Extreme ownership.
On that positive note, I hope triggering the transformation in many of the teams in many leaders that are listening to us online and offline. Let's switch to the panel discussion.
Yes, I'm going to.
Thanks so much.
Thank you for this quick chat, but we are continuing. Stay on the stage.